I like this. I bet they're giving us a chance.
We're up with some wonderful music this morning, so we're going to get started with that. And then today is a special day. We have a guest speaker today, and so I cannot wait for that to come about as well. So Kyle, it's all you, or it's all somebody. It's Parker. It's Parker and Melissa. Woo, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Violin is an extremely difficult instrument. Let's give it up for them again. While we transition, let's turn side to side and greet each other with love cries, hugs, love in the room.
What are you talking about? Where are you?
Oh, you too?
waiting for the day when I am a soul on fire. Till I am a soul on fire, yeah. Let me know you're live. Not enough caffeine this morning. I'm running for your heart. I'm running for your heart. Till I am a soul on fire, Lord. I'm longing for your ways. I'm waiting for the day when I am a soul on fire. Till I am a soul on fire. Lord, restore the joy I had. I have wandered, bring me back. In this darkness, lead me through until all I'll see is you, yeah. God, I'm running for your heart. I'm running for your heart. Till I am a soul on fire, Lord. I'm longing for your ways. I'm waiting for the day when I am a soul on fire. Till I am a soul on fire. Break it down. Lord, let me burn for you, yeah. Let me return to you, yeah. Lord, let me burn for you, yeah. Let me return to you, yeah. God, I'm running for your heart. I'm running for your heart. Till I am a soul on fire, Lord. I'm longing for your ways. I'm waiting for the day when I am a soul on fire. I wanna be your soul on fire. I wanna be your soul on fire. I wanna be your soul on fire.
All right, great job. And these guys literally came up, Caden and Chris just came up this morning and said, we got this. Due to my busyness, we had to cancel practice. We had something better. Oh, speaking of souls on fire, or just fires in general, aren't you doing your testimony, Chuck? You know I had to do it, man. I had to do it. We got that kind of relationship, man. We started off a little rocky, though. We're still rocky. Little we're ready to kill each other. Now we just love each other, man crush and everything. Oh man, I love you, Travis. I can't wait to hear this, man. I've been looking forward to it all week. Hold on, get some wind. More reason to quit smoking.
Dad was a preacher. She was his wife. Just trying to make the world a little better, you know. Shine a light. And people started talking just to hear their own voice. Those people tried to accuse my father, they made the wrong choice. And though it might be painful, no time will always tell. Those people out alone since gone, my father never failed. And even when the rain falls, even when the flood starts rising, even when the storm comes, I am washed by the water. comes, I am washed by the water. Even when the rain falls, even when the flood starts rising, even when the storm comes, I am washed by the water. Even if the earth crumbles under my feet, even if the ones I love turn around and crucify me, I won't ever let you down. Won't fall as long as you're around me. Yeah. Woo! Even when the rain falls, even when the flood starts rising, even when the storm comes, I am washed by the water. Even when the rain falls, even when the flood starts rising, even when the storm comes, I am washed by the water. Take a look. Starts rising, even when the storm comes, I hear I'm washed by the water. When the rain falls, even when the flood starts rising, even when the storm comes, I hear I'm washed by the water. Even when the earth crumbles under my feet, even when the ones I love by the water. Yeah, washed by the water. Yeah. There's no dancing in the house yet, so am I long enough to do that? There should be dancing on it. Alright, that's enough. Wait, I can't floss with the guitar. Alright, so we got something special for you.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
Alright. Do you want to say something about Will? Or you? This is a song that Will wrote, and goes real well with Travis's testimony here. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I wrote this in 2004, just kind of about my adult decision for Christ, and a bunch of the questions that I had, that I desperately needed answers for. You ready? Yeah. Take this anger, remove this pride, and tear down the walls I built with time, and make me free to fly. Make me free to fly. Can you make me free? I think I wanna believe. Change what's in me and make it right, and tear down the walls I built with 'cause you took my anger, you broke my pride, you tore down walls and fears and chains behind I'd hide. You made me free to fly, made me free to fly, Lord, you made me free. I just had to believe in Jesus. I had to believe in truth. Had to believe in you, my Lord.
Gosh, I didn't think our music could get any better, but wowee. And I wish y'all had more enthusiasm. I mean, seriously.
I'd dance if I could.
Well, and I tell you what, this little girl right here needs to sing one day because she's over here mouthing all of the words to all of the music, and I can tell that she's a singer. Aren't you? You are. You're awesome. All right, would you please take out your cell phones, if you don't already have them out, and I want you to silence them because you need to hear this testimony today. And we need to get to a point where, you know, we pay attention. We need to make our brains focus and pay attention, and it helps our brains to heal when we do that. So instead of sitting there today with your eyes shut, I want your eyes to be open, and I really want you to hear the word of the Lord that is going to come to you today. In Matthew 9:17, it says this: people do not put new wine into old wine skins. Otherwise, the wine skins burst, and the wine pours out, and the wine skins are ruined. But they put new wine into fresh wineskins, and both are preserved. So now I've told you before, when you read the Word of God, you need to look at it as to what is God saying to me today? Well, how does this reflect on my life today? And so I'm going to tell you how that scripture is going to reflect on your life today and on the testimony that Travis is going to bring. You know, when you put old wine into new wineskin, the fermentation process causes gases, which makes the wineskins to expand. It's no different than you drinking a soda pop and you take it into your stomach and you take that first drink, and what happens with that first drink? The gases in your stomach cause you to do what?
Burp.
Okay, burp, belch, whatever the name is. So that's what he's talking about. We cannot put new wine into old wineskins. And you go, well, Mary, what does that have to do to me today? It has to do this. When we are going and trying to change our lives, when we have now heard the word of the Lord, we may not totally believe in God, but we've heard His word. When we heard His word, we know that something has happened in our heart. We're receiving something new into our heart. You may not agree with it, but something is happening in your heart. The seed has been planted. And so when that happens, you begin to change your life, and you get rid of the old. The old sin nature is gone away, and all things become new. So here's what happens. When we start walking like that, and we start accepting what we have heard of the Lord, and we start renewing our mind with the Word of God, all of a sudden, here comes Satan, and he brings us suggestions. And every suggestion that Satan brings to you is what? Negative. He tells you how awful you are. He reminds you of your past, and he makes you feel like a loser. And that's what happens. We cannot put new wine into old wine skins. So what do we have to do? We got to change everything about us. We need to get rid of the sin in our life. Now listen to me, you know what the sin in your life is. You know what it is. You've been convicted of it in your heart, and we need to get rid of the old man, the old sin nature, because behold, all things have become new. And when they become new, now you're putting new wine into new wine skins, and you're able to move your life forward. And I'm telling you right now that this young man, Travis, who I had the pleasure of knowing almost a year ago now, he has done just that. He came to treatment here. He was homeless. This man was downtown Denver. He was homeless. He was sick and tired of his life. He didn't have no money. He called me. God put it on my heart to scholarship him here. That is how the Holy Spirit works. He tells us the direction we need to go. He gives us the answers that we need to have. And he called, I talked to him on the phone, and I knew that he needed to be at New Beginnings. So what does he do? He comes to New Beginnings, he gets help for his addiction, and this man does not miss one beat. Relapse is not in his vocabulary. It's not in his it's not in his mind, it's not in his vocabulary. He came and he got everything that he needed to get out of the treatment that he received here. And today, he's a walking testimony of putting new wine into new wine skins. All right.
All right, Travis. Yeah.
Well, first of all, thanks everybody. Thank you, Kyle and Will. That was pretty awesome. Beautiful song. Thank you, Mary. Can y'all hear me? Dick, can you hear me back there?
I can't hear you, Travis.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, Jake. You're here enough on me weekly. So yeah, I'm going to start off with a little bit about myself. I mean, a lot of you guys know me in here. You know me from downstairs or my story from treatment, but a lot of people don't know where I came from, and I'm going to start off with that. I was born and raised in Bennington, Vermont. I was raised by my mother and my grandmother and my older brother. My childhood really wasn't that bad. We didn't really have money, but we had everything. My mom and my grandmother made sure that me and my older brother Tyler had everything we needed no matter what. My father wasn't around. And when he was around, it was short. I wouldn't even say sweet, but short-lived. I think in the beginning, when I was really young, he was there for a little bit, till I was about 2. And then as things progressed, he chose alcohol over me. You know, like any other young boy, I loved my father at that time. You know, and I don't really have any positive memories of him. The one memory that I have of my dad that stands out is one Christmas when I was about 10. I still wanted him in my life. And my mom never did anything for him not to be in my life. She always welcomed him in there and let him come see me whenever he wanted. He just chose not to. So one Christmas, she decides to let him come over. And he comes over and he has a really awesome present for me. It's a really nice TV. It's a big TV. It was really cool. I was actually happy. I was like, maybe it's more than a TV. Well, 2 weeks later, Rent-A-Center came to repossess the TV. So we got 2 weeks free and expected my mother to pay for it. And that sticks with me. That one stuck with me. I was like, yeah, now I'm old enough to realize like what he is and what he's not doing. You know, and that was a really sad day for my mom. For him to put that on my mom was just awful. Rent-A-Center came, they picked it up, and in a small town in Bennington, people stay in their jobs for a while. So as I got older, I ended up working for those same guys that repossessed my TV at Rent-A-Center. So that really hurt them as well. So I mean, his impact on his wrongdoing really affected everybody. And the end of my father was about 2 years ago when he called me on the phone to tell me that he was dying. That they wanted to take his leg and he wasn't going to do it. 2 days later, he passed away. And you know that was hard on me. Still, I mean, I don't think I've yet to grieve. I'm still angry about it. My mother, being the amazing person that she is, she stepped up and she felt that she needed to go to the funeral, so she went and she paid respects to him, even though all the wrongdoing that he did. So that's a little dark side. And now I'm going to get on to my mother. My mother, Patty Baker, is an inspiration for all of us. I was really hard on my mom throughout my addiction, and it didn't matter. She never turned her back on me, not once. She loved me unconditionally no matter what. She's got 10 years clean, over 10 years, and she did it all just through AA. And during my addiction, I mean, it caused a lot. When she made the switch to just focus her life on AA, it was really hard on us, you know, because I was using, and my brother and his sister-in-law, we just didn't understand the change. And we were all just thought my mom was weird. We really did. We thought she was the weirdest thing ever. And that she didn't make sense. And that I even remember like saying to her that I don't believe in AA or any of that, but if it's working for you, it's cool. And I was like, I just don't get it. I think it's an excuse. Well, as we're all sitting here, we know that that's not the case. You know, my walking, talking big book, I just needed to open it. And that's my mother. And I couldn't be more proud of her for what she's done. And she stuck to her guns, and she believed in me. She's been waiting for me to do this for God knows how long. You know, the last couple of years, which I'll get into more here in a minute, the way she stood by me and didn't give up on me is priceless. So when I was locked up in county jail this last time, which has been a pretty big part of my life, I was locked up when I was 18 for about 6 months for false pretense. That was tough on my family because everybody had to send me off to Marble Valley Regional Correctional Facility in the state of Vermont. That's a lot. That's the closest thing to a prison that I ever want to see, let alone see. I did 6 months or so there, and I was supposed to do a year, and I was just really upset because the other parent that I had was my grandmother, Bernice Dallins, and this lady, she battled breast cancer for 16 years or so, working 2 jobs to help my mom raise me and my brother. And she didn't miss a beat. She was the hardest worker I've ever met, the most fun I ever met, and she was such a fighter. And she she promised me, I mean, she was getting really sick at the time when I went into Marble Valley. And it was starting to take a toll on her, and she was still strong. So when I went, they actually gave me a week after they sentenced me. They gave me a week to, which, looking back at it, that was brutal. Like my mom and them, they threw a barbecue and everything, sending me off to jail. You know? It was really tough. It was really weird. It was a very unconventional way of going about things. And so my grandmother, I remember her saying that, because I have 3 cousins, Christy, Carrie, and Kyle, and me and my brother were her 5 grandkids. And I remember her telling me that I was her favorite. I mean, all of them were her favorite. But for her to tell me that before I went to jail stuck. So here I am sitting in Marble Valley, not liking anything about it. Who should like jail? But I just started feeling like something was up. So I had a phone call with my grandma, and we called her Nan. I feel weird saying grandma, so had a phone call with Nan, and about 3 of them, but the last one was, you could just hear her voice. I mean, her memory was starting to go, and it was getting bad. It was getting really bad. I didn't think she was going to make it in time for me to get out. So she fought. I was denied house arrest 3 times while I was in there. And on the 4th time, they listened to her. She was writing letters. I was writing letters. And against everything, like situational based, my mom being the hero that she is, she agreed to house arrest. Yeah, I wasn't exactly probably house arrest material. You know, I was very popular in high school, and we'll get to that, but I didn't really focus too much on the school part. It was more of the part, not school. So we did that. I went through the battles of having to get out of Marble Valley and go on to house arrest. Well, my stepfather, Chris, he's phenomenal. He's been in the picture. I know I'm going to get this wrong, and my mom's going to watch it, give her something to correct me on, but I think they've been together over 15 years. He came in, and I was really tough on that guy, because all the other guys that my mom was ever been with were not worth even mentioning here. But Chris, he is definitely worth mentioning here. So he drinks maybe 2 beers a night. Doesn't have any problems. I don't know. And he does his stuff. And so the reason why I point that part out with him is because you can't have any alcohol in the house or anything. You know, nothing can be in there. So my mom and my stepdad had to change their way of living, you know, for 12 years, or for 12 months. And I did it. I completed that. I actually completed house arrest. So there was signs, you know, I completed house arrest for my grandmother. You know, I was very blessed to be out. When I got out, it was weird, because when they let me out to go to house arrest, I still held my job at Staples. I was assistant manager at Staples for about 3 years. I started at the age of 17. I was actually on my way to work at Staples, going down a steep hill. I fell off my bike, the derailleur snapped, launched me, knocked me out. I was found on the side of the road by the same cop that arrested me. That's a small town drama for you. And so now I'm in the hospital, and slight concussion or whatever. But I'm in there, and I'll never forget it. Like, I go to the hospital, and here I am with my face all gashed with road rash, and my grandmother's laying there. So she's like, "What did you do to your face?" I told her, and you know, this is right as I got out, so the timing was like this. She remembered who I was and everything, and it was sad because that was it. after that, there was no memory. She was just there, and she didn't remember any of us. So for that whole week, it was me and my mom, mostly my mom, just sitting in the hospital bed with our lifeline, our strength, our hope, and everything, just withering away. And at this time, my mom is still, we used to smoke pot together, and my mom's problem was pot and pills. And we would still do that. We weren't totally where we are now. So when my grandmother passed, that was the biggest life-changing experience ever. That's when I really started doing the whole partying aspect of my teens. I started hanging out with the popular crowd. I did every drug under the sun, from probably that, from 18 on, mushrooms, crack, coke, whatever, and still functioning, still have a job. Well, I didn't necessarily do everything correctly because I went to high school from 9th grade to 12th grade. If you do the math, that's 4 years. I went 7 years with still no diploma. So I was obviously there for all the wrong reasons. I got in a little bit more trouble with the law. I mean, partying, it was a small town, everybody there either drank or smoked. So, I did that. So I got into another battle with the law, got arrested for a little bit of dope. And I made a plea bargain. I'm kind of jumping a little bit a few years, but I made a plea bargain with the state to allow me, I've left Staples, I'm at Retina Center, to allow me to transfer Retina Center to Colorado. So my brother had already moved out here. It was my boyhood dream to move here. My favorite colors were blue and orange when I was a kid. So my license plate was Mr. LA Vermont Green. So been a Bronco Yankee my whole life. It's a weird combination. So my brother and my mother decided that the courts decided that they wanted to get rid of me. They were like, okay, cool, go, don't come back. So my mom and my brother was already out here. He graduated University of Vermont. He's the complete opposite of me. My brother Tyler, who was here at my commencement, Mary met him. He's a mechanical engineer. He brews his own beer. And he has 2 beautiful sons, Reese and Blake, a wonderful wife, Sarah, and my brother did everything he could possibly do for me. Like, he helped my mom pay for the bus ticket. I took a bus from Bennington, Vermont to Colorado. I'm not going to get into that. But I made it. I made it here. And I started work at a Retina Center out here. Things are going well. But you can't run from your addiction. I thought leaving Bennington, Vermont would be cool. I'd come out here, I'd get a fresh start. Well, I get out here and run right into the same thing. I wasn't out here more than 3 days before I was doing coke. I didn't know where any of it was or anything like that. I ran right into the heart of it. I wasn't doing it that bad or anything yet. I hadn't found the M word yet. But during this time, I must have screwed my brother over 5 times on places to live, just not paying him, stealing his change, doing all the wrong things to him, Here he is just helping him believe me. He gave me a job at his company, Westover Controls Corporation. They're an HVAC company. I was running the warehouse for my brother, and just, what I did to that place was absolutely wrong. I don't think I'll ever forget that. They trusted me, they believed in me. I'm Tyler's younger brother. I had everything. they give me a gas card, and I'm buying my own cigarettes, doing my own things with it. You know, just running amok on company's dime. So I had to get, I got fired by my brother pretty much, you know, and after he finally, because he knew I was always struggling, getting the right amount of money, but I mean, I could have got paid a lot, and even after that, he still stuck by me. And, you know, then I finally got to the point of about 2013. You know, after that, you know, they still believed in me. I started doing electrical work, and I was working at a bowling alley as well. And then I met this guy named Timothy Horner, who was an awesome man, really good friend of mine. And that's where I met his daughter, Erica Horner. And yeah, I met Erica Horner. We were together for a couple of years. We actually, she came over one night and never left. So it all started off pretty good. You know, everything was pretty cool, and then we got our own place. I had my own place when she came over, but I was sharing it with another roommate. So then we decided to get our own place. And I don't know why I said 2013. It was 2000. Anyway, the date's not right. That's what happens when you use drugs. But anyway, so 2011 is when me and Erica conceived my son Tanner. Tanner Jordan Morris. You know, she even allowed him to be named after me. My brother's Tyler J. Morris. I'm Travis John Morris. So he's the third generation Morris boy. Still has our initials. And in the beginning, it was just perfect for about the first 2 months or so. It was just awesome. I was so enjoying being a dad. I actually wanted to be a father at the age of 30. You know, that was one of my goals that I did manage to accomplish, was to be a dad by the time I was 30 years old. And then when Tanner was 3 months old, the unthinkable happened, and that I can't get that out of my head. So there's two versions of what happened when this fire occurred. This is one of two fires in my life. This one was about 2 o'clock in the morning. Me and Erica smelled like burning plastic. Went out to the front room. I turned and looked at the window, and this ball of flame busted through the window. You could feel it. And Tanner's in his crib, my dog's there. My son's mother, she sleeps naked. So now I'm trying to find a blanket and get my son's mother, and my son out of her crib as fast as we possibly could. My son's mother is an unbelievably strong woman. Strongest woman I know. She has MS. And man, I was rough on her. Not physically, but verbally. Words do hurt. They really do, you know. Especially when you have someone that's sensitive and you say the wrong things, they hurt. But we managed to get out of that fire. Barely. We lost everything we owned. They said that, one of the guys said that it was possibly old electrical. You know, looking back at it, the one guy that pissed me off and told me that it was from a cigarette, because we had a duplex and there was an ashtray outside underneath a swamp cooler cover, and it was still winter, but I threw my cigarette right into this ashtray. You know, it didn't make sense for the laws of physics, but looking back at it, it could have been that. And I'm fine with it now, but, you know, so in my eyes, I felt responsible for it. Everybody said no, obviously wanted to be by my side and not see me fall down or anything like that. But so I feel like I burned my house down when my son was 3 months old. So we rebuilt from that. It was difficult. We got a real nice place in Golden, my dream house. It was awesome. But at this time, it was pretty much all about me. You know, I wasn't paying attention to my son's mother's needs, and you know, I was just working and smoking weed and coming home and seeing my son and watching games and stuff. Never really wanted to do what she wanted to do, so you know, rightfully so. She got bored and sick of it, and you know, when I get mad, I get really mad. So like when I get mad at her, I would just say the most horrifying things. Words that Mary would probably throw me out of the room for saying. I'm not proud of it at all. You know, it's the whole bullying aspect of what I did to my kid's mother is why she left. You know, I was hurt. I blamed her for a while, but she's definitely not the one to blame for any of this. So then we were separated, and in the beginning it was challenging, to say the least. You know, but we both had joint custody of Tanner, and I went on my merry way and went back to the bar scene. I used to cook in a bar in Westminster before I was with Erica. So I went back to that after she left me. And that's when I ran into some old people from when I first got out here in 2003. This guy, Dave Huckey, owned the Outpost Bar and Grill. And you know, I didn't really have anything going for me at the time. I was on my own, and everybody was wondering if I was going to make it or not. So this guy stood by me. He was like the father I never had. Gave me work, gave me money to get a place. And once again, I find myself with someone that I love very, very much, all of a sudden gets cancer. He was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and he didn't know he had it. And this was tough because Tanner's about 2 now, and Tanner went through the entire thing with me. We went over to hospice, watched Dave suffer, a lot like my grandmother did. So my son got to see it. Doesn't remember much of it, but so I finally found that missing void that I had. It's pretty much like a father. Didn't have that father, but I had it. I had somebody that believed in me. Well, then he passed away, and I don't need these cards for this. You know, then he passed away, and it wasn't the same. Nothing was the same. I never thought I was an addict. I thought I was just someone that was struggling with life or whatever. And then I met this one girl. The one girl. Stupid. Anyway, so the one girl, and we decided it was a one-night stand type thing. We got some meth, we smoked some meth, and I'm like, I don't really like it. And we did whatever we did, and she had nothing, so my dumbass that has nothing decides to bring her in. Yeah, so I bring her in, and we're staying in the garage at the Outpost at the time, and just smoking meth. Then I get someone that gives me a fairly large camper trailer, and I turn that into an apartment. And we stayed in that, the two of us. I still have custody of Tanner at the time. And he was in this camper. Eric was still letting him come see me. Erica was still letting him be around me, and knowing what she knows, her mother's instinct that probably something bad's gonna happen. Well, I ended up just doing meth for about 2 years with this person. I got arrested from 2015 to 2017. I was in the county jail 27 times with 19 failure to appears. Most of them were traffic and most of them were shoplifting. You know, I didn't work. I worked at shoplifting. You know, and then there was this one day I went into Walmart and I was doing this for a while. I would steal Bronco gear and go back down to the bar and sell it. So it was working out really well for me until I did it when I had my son with me. He was in the shopping cart with me in Walmart, and I put on a Bronco shirt. I was a shopping cart full of junk and everything under the sun, probably about over $500 worth. The cops all waited for me at the register. They all had it all pegged, you know, so I ended up going into the room. They had a hard time either feeling sorry for me or believing that I was just using my son for this, but they ticketed me for shoplifting, let me go, and then I didn't show up to court, obviously, the failure to appear. So then I get arrested on a warrant, and I go to Denver County, and I was there 2 weeks, and the social service lady comes in and says that she wants Erica's contact information, and I didn't want to give it to her, but I didn't give it to her at first, and she said that because Erica was in a different county, that all she had to do is verify her address. Well, anyway, she did more than that. Social services got involved and pretty much pulled the card that was pretty scary. Like, she had to take custody of Tanner from me. So here I am sitting in jail and losing my son. So I get out of jail, and the custody's done, so I'm pissed off. I'm back running around doing meth. And this time, I had a really, I guess, good meth connection. So I get a lot of meth. A lot of meth. A Home Depot bucket full of meth. And I managed to run around up for 33 straight days on meth. Just not sleeping, just not eating, just doing what I was doing for the last couple of years. And before this doomsday, I call it, I'm talking to my mom on the phone, and I'm like, I just don't care about anything anymore. They took my son, and I just want to die. I really don't care. Until you stare death in the face. So that night, after I told my mom that I could care less if I committed suicide or if I left this world, you know, I was tired, I was vulnerable. I've been up for 33 straight days. So, yeah, I finally fell asleep. I started running out, I finally fell asleep. I left the space heater on in my trailer and woke up on fire. You know, I have 7 to 8 second, third-degree burns. I was literally on fire, and I'm in a trailer, and there's only one entry out of this thing in its front, so there's no way out. And a lot of you people have heard my Flex Steel story. I sprayed Flex Seal all over this camper to seal it. It's highly flammable. So I didn't have much time, so I just prayed. I just prayed to God. I was like, I'm wrong. I really am wrong. I don't want to die. I do want to live. I mean, I know you're real, but I need your help right now. Well, long story short, I'm living proof that God's real. Because I want to be standing in front of you telling you this. Because I was able to kick the corner of the trailer out. And as I got out, I stopped, dropped, and roll because I was on fire. And as I'm rolling towards the camper blows up. It was on the news. It was the Stapleton camper fire. It looked like a meth lab. The only meth that was in me. And it looked like a paint store just going up in flames. And yeah. So that, yeah, I don't even know what to say after that. You know, that's when I hit the complete rock bottom. I hit rock bottom many times before, but so after the fire, my best friend, Napoleon, he helped me out so much, and I still got to take care of that. So I call Salvation Army, and they come out, they give me $300. So I walking around with $300, I go get a hotel on Colfax. And I'm burnt, I'm sore, do a little bit more meth, and then I'm at a bus stop with nothing except for infected burns. So I ended up going into Lutheran Medical Center. They put me in the ICU. They treated me for infected second and third degree burns. Sent me out on my merry way. And then I get picked up for another warrant. And this was the last time. So this was, when I got picked up on this warrant, is that Tom Wright?
Yeah.
And we were worried that I wouldn't go 30 minutes. Well, anyway, I'll try to wrap this up as quick as I can. But, so yeah, when I went to jail this last time, I was in jail, and this is really important that I bring this part up because my mom, she answered all those $1,000 phone calls in jail. And she answered this one, and I said, Mom, so I feel like I'm becoming my dad. And she said, well, do something about it. He never did. And I did something about it. You know, and that's all I can really say is when I got out this time, I knew I had to do something about it. And it was hard. And that's when God led me to new beginnings. So I do want to read this really quick. This is Deuteronomy 30. It's verse 19. I mean, I think I've already proved that God is real. But this verse right here, 30:19. This day I call the heavens and the earth as witness against you that I have set before you life and death, blessing and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live. So, I mean, I got a lot more, but I'm going to wrap it up by just saying thanks to everybody in here. If you guys want to hear more of my story, I'm more than open to talk to you about it. I want to thank Mary from the bottom of my heart when my mom and my brother had no choice but to stop believing. You stepped in, and I really appreciate it. It means the world to me. Chris, words won't explain what you are. I mean, if I've got anything going on at all, I got you. You're a brother, you're a father, you're everything I needed, so you mean the world to me, dude. Jacob, You're my brother, bro. I love you to death, man. You know, I don't know what it is about you, but you inspire me in many ways. And I like the way your life is headed, so. And I just got to thank my mom again, and Chris, and my brother, and my kid's mother, and everybody in this room. Love you all. Thank you very much.
Well, we want to thank Travis. It's not easy speaking in front of people, but he pulled it off very nicely. And I wanted to have one of our journals and one of our pens. Thank you so much. You did a great job. All right, so without further ado, I just wish you the best day ever. Everybody go and be blessed.
Thanks, Mary.
All that fun stuff. Taylor, I need to ask you something.